It's a numbers game with your host, Gill Alexander.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
Hour number 2 of a numbers game right here at VEASAN, the Vegas Stats and Information Network. SiriusXM Channel 204, VEASAN.com, the VEASAN app. It is Gill Alexander. It is a Thursday. It is hour number 2, and that means, ladies and gentlemen, Bill Krackomberger. At Bill Crackman with a K on Twitter. This show, as always, by the way, brought to you by the BetMGM app. I don't want to forget about that. The BetMGM app is brand new, and first-time players, you are incentivized. Because when you make your first bet there, it's completely risk-free. It's up to $500. How about that? Same guys that bring you Atlantic City's premier hotel and casino, Borgata, will be with you all season long with a wide variety of betting options, an easy deposit, and withdrawal methods. Download the app. Use bonus code VSIN500 at sign-up. That's all you need to do to get your $500 risk-free bet. That's bonus code VSIN500. Place your first BetMGM wager risk-free. Once you do that, you can sign up anywhere, but you got to be in the state of New Jersey to place a bet. BetMGM, it's how you play the game. Download the app today. Got to be 21 years of age or older. New Jersey only. Restrictions apply. It's the BetMGM app. Speaking of guys who are going to New Jersey after the show, that's what you're doing.
Yes, good morning. Yes, I am. I said, you asked what I was doing.
Yeah.
And our show is always unscripted, and I said, yeah, it's amazing, really. I'm headed to Jersey and for the weekend, just to bet sports for other real. Actually, to be honest, though, Monday morning I file an extension on my taxes, so Monday I am dealing with my taxes there, and my accountant is in New Jersey. But I basically am going. I file my taxes around my sports betting trip to Jersey.
But if I had met 2010 Bill Krackomberger and I'd walked up to you in 2010, just picking a random year, and
sure.
said, "Hey, Bill, with this decade, you are going to have a life in which, by the way, I don't know if you know this yet." There's going to be legalization in this country on a state-to-state basis. First of all, you'd be like, get out of here.
Yeah.
But then I was like, and then you're just going to fly back and forth like on certain weekends. What do you think your reaction would have been in 2010 if I had said that?
Yeah, I would have said no way.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Get out of here, kid.
But do you imagine it's mathematically an advantage for me to fly back to New Jersey?
Yes.
And airfare is very expensive because I'm last minute Louis.
Yeah, you can't do that, man.
No, I'm nuts. I'm totally insane. This morning I went on and got the ticket.
Have you noticed, though, recently, I'm glad you brought this up. Have you noticed that recently that the advance time that you need to book a lower fare ticket has decreased a little?
Absolutely. I was just going to say that the airfares are out of control. For me, anyway.
Well, no, but what I mean is that we got into this period where you had to book a week in advance.
Oh yes, it's 14 days even. Because I went on this morning and looked now because I wanted to go back Thanksgiving and Christmas. Oh. And it's amazing how expensive it is.
Oh, see, for me, and maybe this is a California thing. That it's actually reduced now. Now you only have to be 3 or 4 days in advance.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it's just a California thing.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, but it just seems like to me, I fly into Newark or Philadelphia, depending if I'm going to stay in Staten Island or if I'm going to Jersey, right to Atlantic City. So I noticed the airfares to Philly are just so much more. And the airfares that I like taking this, Southwest, United Airlines has the greatest Newark to Las Vegas flight. Matter of fact, the late flight, the last flight out usually is those pods where you sleep.
That's right.
Because I go first class, and first class is not what you think first class is. It's like $500 each way, so it's not really overly crazy. So
I don't mean to sound ignorant. Southwest has first class?
No.
I was going to say
United. Southwest doesn't fly nonstop to Newark. They fly nonstop to Philly. They don't even fly nonstop to Philly anymore. So. No, I go United, and you could, if you could catch the late flights, you can get it for $4.95 each way,
which is good.
Which is really good.
On first class, it's outstanding.
First class,
outstanding.
Yeah, it's $500. Yeah,
and you get a chance to see Bill Krackomberger in a mask.
Yeah, no, exactly. I do have it. Oh no, I'm nuts. Okay. I have the little. Yeah. The little cleaners from Dollar Tree. Yeah. I went to Dollar Tree the other day, and I'm thinking to myself, God. Imagine if someone sees me in here buying some Krackomberger and Dollar Tree. Having a losing week.
There goes Bill Krackomberger.
No, I do, though. I get those. I'll buy 5. I'll tell you what's the greatest at Dollar Tree. They have a phone and iPad cleaner for $1. And these things, and they're safe for the phone and iPad. So I'll stock up on get 10 of them, and I'll get 10 of the other things, too.
Do you consider yourself a full-fledged germaphobe?
No, not full fledged. No,
Not full-fledged.
no.
Not Howie Mandel level.
No,
Like,
not
right
no,
under there.
no. But I like to. I definitely wash my fingerprints off every day.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
So you are not only you're a bit of a big maher here coming up. I know you may object to Yiddish terms like big maher, which makes
No,
you
it's okay.
sound grandiose, but you are part of an event that's happening next week. Explain first of all, it's G2E is what it's called.
Yes.
So
G2E convention.
explain what your understanding of what that convention is, and then explain to the extent you can what your involvement is in it.
I was asked to be on a panel, and the ex-governor Chris Christie, I think, is on the same. He's giving a speech, and I think it's just a panel of probably taking some Q&A or something about the industry, or maybe it's actually I think the particular thing I'm on. I had an email. That was actually interested in. We built an app, so the email is like a multimedia. I'm not on a sports betting per se panel.
Oh, you're not.
It's actually building the app I built, a Crack Wins app, and that app, and just in relation to the market and what the multimedia is. However,
see.
I'm sure I'll take that conversation into sports betting. I can't help but do it. Just.
G2E, by the way, stands for Global Gaming Expo. For those who don't know.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I knew. I know. I didn't know what it standed for.
Yeah.
Oh, I did hear that now that you say that.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest. That's the biggest, right? It's the biggest gaming thing of the year here.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yes.
Oh yeah, everyone comes in for like, if you're part of, I think Konami, which is a big company, I think they sponsor it, and if you're part of any kind of gambling or gaming companies, they're all represented there because they want to be the next people in Vegas, or maybe they're in Vegas and they just want to have build their brand, build their model.
So Chris Christie is doing the keynote address for the Global Gaming
Oh,
Expo.
okay.
And
You looked it up, so you found out more than me.
Well, yeah, I'm just learning now. And there is a sports betting panel, as far as I can tell. Gary Bettman, the commissioner of the NHL.
Wow.
Will be on the sports betting panel, along with Joe Asher, CEO of William Hill, big fan of this show.
Cool.
Greg Carlin, CEO of Rush Street Gaming, and Matt King, CEO of FanDuel. So everybody
I
on
have a funny
that
feeling I won't be around that panel.
Yeah.
Just have a feeling.
Strangely, you didn't get the invite on.
No. Now I know why
panel.
I'm not on that sports betting panel. Okay.
Yeah, so that's that should be. I mean, that should be fascinating, right? By any.
Wow, there's some big names though.
by
in
any
the game.
measure.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah.
That should be interesting. So, but that's great that you got. Do you know who else is on your panel
I don't.
specifically?
I'm really informed.
Boy, they really briefed you, huh? They really.
Yeah. I'll find out more next week though. I'll have it because it's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, it's
Right,
October 14th to
Yeah.
17th, something like that. October 15th to 17th, somewhere in that pocket here. But that's good. So you're on a panel. That should be fun. You're a little. You said you were a little. You don't get nervous for
No,
much.
because I don't know what it's about. Actually, I have to
Yeah.
look into it more. So maybe I'm premature even mentioning it, but
Well, you just
we'll
do your
see.
thing.
Next week I'll have more info.
You write for Gaming Today this week?
Oh yeah, I got a good article on there.
What'd you
of
do?
course.
What'd you talk about?
Well, let me talk about first.
Please.
Yesterday, 2 days ago, there's a guy named Bobby the Owl here in Vegas. He's been here 55. No, I'm wrong. He's been here since 55. So he's been here 64 years. And
Oh my goodness.
oh, he was so great to take him out. And now I realize he really is a bigger legend than I thought. After I put it up on my Twitter page, I see the responses from some of the people that have been around town for years and saying, "Oh, he's the best." People are saying he's still alive. There was a Gaming Today article written. Scotty Shetler wrote it about 4 years ago on him. Fantastic. I don't have it in front of me. You could just Google Bobby the Owl Gaming Today. Matter of fact, when you put Bobby the Owl in, three or four different ones come up. You could just put the Las Vegas one, and just to see the stories on him. He worked in the casinos, and he worked at some of the sports books at the beginning, and how he would just overcomp the players and okay, here, what do you want? Here, just take things. I mean, really, my kind of guy, by the way. Anyway, but
Yeah.
So he I went to lunch with him, and he's 86. He says to me, he goes, "Mr. Crackman, I always wanted to meet you." I said, "Mr. Owl, I always wanted to meet you."
Mr.
Like
Owl.
he doesn't realize that.
Yeah.
The stories on him and with Jimmy Vaccaro and just even before Jimmy, the stories were great. Back from just sitting there with him for an hour, telling me the old mob stories. When like I said, the guy's been there since '55. And he was in the Stardust at the beginning, and it's just pretty cool guy. I put it up on my Twitter, a picture of me and him and I, and that's my buddy. Now I have a new buddy in town. That's twice I met him. I met him one time. He just didn't realize it in passing, but now I actually took him to lunch, and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to start. I had to go over to Boulder Station, so over to that side of town, which I don't really go over to that side of town too much. So It's cool going to some of those old casinos. I went through Boulder Station, and I've never been in Arizona Charlie's over there. So we went to 2 different places, and just to see those older casinos over there, and they're just, they're all. Listen, people don't go over. They say it's a bad area, but listen, it's the daytime. I went over to Park Valley. You go in, and it seemed fine to me. Sam's Town over there. You ever go to that atrium over there? You ever been there?
Yeah, no, I have.
It's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool. There's a steakhouse there overlooking the falls. It's
Those of us who grew up on the East Coast always, and then we moved to the West Coast. When people say places are dangerous, we sort of, you know how to.
Yeah.
We're sort of like, really?
Yeah.
Is it? Bobby the Owl, by the way, BTO. Bobby the Owl. I don't know how he got the name Bobby the Owl. Do you know? But he used to be called AKA BTO, not Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Right.
But according to Scotty Shetler's article from just a couple years ago. By the way, speaking of Scotty Shetler, I should point out, because you and I both appreciate
Love his old stories.
Just great stories. And Scotty Shetler was supposed to be on a numbers game. He was supposed to be on this show last month.
Right.
Alan Boston.
Alan told me.
Alan Boston.
He hooked that up.
Alan and I became very worried because all of a sudden then we couldn't find Scotty. And Scotty would go right to voicemail, and we were worried, and we're like, well, what do we do? Do we go? Because I don't know him well enough to, I certainly don't know him to like, do some sort of investigation on it. Anyway, Scotty texted me finally last week, so I was super relieved. He's doing okay, so hopefully we can have him on the show. Because if there's anybody, Scott ran the Stardust back in the day.
Imagine
if there's anybody,
those stories.
Yeah, I
want to literally not be on with you, but I want to sit over where Jeff sits somewhere and just listen to that in person and live.
It's so funny you say that. When there's never been a person who I've said is going to be on the show where that applies to more. When I've told people that Scott Shetler might be on the show, more people have said what you just said than all other guests combined.
Wow.
There's about 4 or 5 different people who's like, can I just be in there when he's there?
Do you understand? Before I wrote for Gaming Today, I used to always grab Gaming Todays and bring them on the plane with me to read. I used to cut Scotty Shetler's article out every week for a buddy of mine who was at the Stardust in the beginning that lives in Philadelphia, and I used to cut them out and send them to him like 3 or 4 at a time. The stories were unbelievable. He just talked about what happened every imagine the characters there. And
well, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and he has a book. Scotty does. We were what was it? We were wise guys and we didn't know it.
That's it. We were wise guys and we didn't know it.
That's the name of the book. We didn't know is the name of Scott Shetler's book, and he sent me one of his copies. So
wow!
I'm eternally grateful for that, and he signed it. But one of the very first parts about it is just painting the picture of the old Stardust, and what he would say was like this detente, my word, not his, in the back row of the Stardust where you would get mobsters. Like you would have Spilatro. I think I mentioned this on the show a few weeks ago. You'd have Spilatro, Tony Spilatro sitting next to Oscar Goodman, sitting next to police officers. And while you were in the Stardust sports book, it was this Switzerland. Right, it was this neutral zone where as soon as you walked out of there, you were at odds again. But in there, the picture he described, the picture he painted anyway, was just an amazing one. So hopefully we'll get him on the show. But you had lunch with Bobby the Owl, and it was
I took him to lunch, and we had some great conversations, and we actually made a little bit of money together.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
that's always nice too.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
He's doing well at his age.
He's doing good.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's getting around, and he just says, he told me though, he said, had a rough season here. I'm hoping you can help me a little bit. And unbelievable, there's a horse. True story. There was a horse in front of him and his friend. He had a friend that was with him, and they said, "Look at this name of this horse, Bill's Mafia." I said, "Bobby," I said, "I don't play horses, I said, "Let me here. Put 50 and 50 on it. Go ahead. Go up to the counter, put 50 and 50 on the thing." It was like 20 to 1, went down to 8 to 1. I said, okay. So now it goes off 12 to 1, but I don't realize there's a 1 to 9 shot, which is a favorite, which is the over. That's a giant favorite, right? It pays nothing. The 1 to 9 shot won by 10 lengths. Bill's Mafia came in second. 50. I said, all right, I'm going to break out even or make a little bit of money. They took the 1 to 9 shot down for interference. It's not called an objection. It's called an inquiry. There was an inquiry.
A derby situation.
There's an inquiry. They took the horse down. I mean, just think about that.
Yeah.
How many? I can't tell you how much money I'm down over the years on tips from horses, from guys that are on the inside and everything else.
And the horses are
every single jockey or every single trainer thinks their horse is going to win. They're giving out tips to all their friends, and I can't believe it actually worked out for. And I'm telling these guys, they're not going to take down a 1 to 9 shot. The whole track will go crazy. It was Philadelphia, so whatever track that is in Philly, Parks. Mm-hmm. So, unbelievably, the horse wins, pays 26 and change. I got back $805, and we made some money.
There you go.
Yeah. But I would have never, ever bet a horse. The name was funny. They picked it out. It's like, go ahead, put 50.
You're so right about horse tips, though, because in half those situations, those horses are still running to this day, right? They're just the worst tips ever.
But it was just it was meant to be. It was meant to make everyone a little bit of money. I have 3 guys around me, threw them all a little bit, give them all a little bone.
I like it. All right, we'll get to your Gaming Today story coming up, and Jason Weingarten, for those who want some more baseball picks, we'll review those, and Jason's got his thoughts on a doubleheader of playoff baseball, 2 National League Division Series Game 1s taking place both in Atlanta and Los Angeles today. The Cardinals at the Braves, and of course, the Nationals at the Dodgers. We'll get to that. It's a numbers game right here at VSiN.
Keep it right here for more of A Numbers Game with Gill Alexander.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
When we grew up on the Redskins, to say that they were the most important things in our lives at RFK Stadium. RFK Stadium was a baseball stadium that had dugouts. Football players would come out of dugouts because it was a baseball original stadium in D.C. The stadium would shake when the Redskins were winning Super Bowls, when the Redskins were winning playoff games. People get so rowdy. It was such a rickety stadium, it would literally shake. And so when Joe Gibbs and the Redskins won 3 Super Bowls in a span of 11 years, from the 81 season through the 91 season into January of 92, there was nothing greater than the Washington Redskins experience. And the stadium was filled with a diverse demographics. And then, and by the way, Niners fans, the same thing happened to them, but like more than a decade later, where they went from a baseball stadium in which they won Super Bowls at Candlestick to a very antiseptic stadium outside of the city itself. And the Redskins did that when they moved to FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. But the big change in the Redskins was not just the drop-off because free agency, when free agency hit in 92, 93, the Redskins didn't know how to handle it, whereas teams like the Niners did. So the Redskins lost players like Gary Clark and others because they didn't really get that players were going to be paid all this money. So that was the first sort of chink in the Redskins' armor. But the real knock was when Daniel Snyder bought the team in 1996, I believe it was. And they moved to the new stadium. New stadium first, because it was Jack Kent Cooke Stadium first, but then Daniel Snyder bought the team in the late 90s. I think it was 98. Either way, that's when everything went to hell. And this is something that we watch now on a nightly basis. When we see the Redskins play a game like that, everyone's like, oh my God, they're so bad. When Daniel Snyder bought the team, we quickly realized as Redskin fans, an entire city realized this is a lifetime sentence. Because this little pitcher was 35 years old when he bought the team. 35. And what was his first act? To basically fire everybody who used to work there.
Key additions, if you want to follow this on NBA TV on Twitter, 30 teams in 30 days. Russell Westbrook, Tyson Chandler, Ben McLemore. Key departures, Chris Paul. And Eric Gordon re-signs with the Rockets, which is very important, I think.
Yep.
So the Rockets were 53 and 29 last season. What do you project their win total now with Harden and Westbrook?
I mean, it's hard to make it below 50, just considering the talent that they have. So I think 52.5 is pretty fair. Like, 52.5. Like, they won 53 games last year, right? So I think that's right about where you have to put it.
Welcome back to A Numbers Game with Gill Alexander.
I'm literally like reading this Scotty Shetler article about Bobby the Owl, and I'm just cherry picking because I don't have enough time to read it. But like just randomly selecting Bobby the Owl, who you had lunch with the other day. During one Monday Night Football game, Bobby was at his writing window, but he didn't really want to do this, so he threw the tickets at people. It turns out one guy he threw the ticket at was the governor's brother-in-law. Warren heard about it, talking about Warren Nelson, and told me to get Bobby out of his casino. That's Scotty Shetler talking. That was the Owl's last break. Here's just throwing tickets at people. Here's another one. Just cherry picking lines from this. This is the character that you had lunch with the other day, the famous Bobby the Owl. Where'd this little quirky one go? Let me see if I can find it.
And this is back when money was money, by the way. Before I let you tell this part of the article, this is back when money was money 40 years ago.
Once, while working at the Silverbird Sportsbook, he wrote a customer the wrong team for $22,000. So someone made a bet.
Someone made a bet for $22,000.
Bobby wrote the wrong side.
Bobby wrote the wrong side of the game. He never looked at it, the customer. Put the ticket in his pocket.
Yeah, the man never looked at his ticket. That's his mistake. And had to eat it since the game was over. He waited for the Owl to leave the Silverbird and punched him right through his car window.
Right through his car window, he punched. He wrote the wrong side of the ticket. Oh, Bobby.
Vegas was great.
What a town. What a town back then.
That's the voice of Bill Krackomberger, everybody. At Bill Crackman with a K. Bill, you write for Gaming Today. What do you talk about this week?
Honestly, I didn't pull the article up, but I know it was about everyone having an opinion on games. No matter where you go. Just seems like the talking heads have an opinion on, like where were they years ago before Twitter?
Oh, you're talking
Everyone has opinions on NFL games, and everyone's an expert, on the games. It seems like, and I just noticed it more and more, and people have said things more and more, and I wrote a thing about you won't see a talking head not willing to give you an opinion on a spread. Doesn't matter who it is, what their job is, or what their job was last year. Or the fact that if they truly ever did gamble, they've never had a winning year, but yet they're giving picks out all the time. Yeah. So that was one of the, guy at my pool is a perfect example. I go out to the pool, jacuzzi and pool almost every night, and I'm out there at midnight, and he knows what I do for a living, and he gives me his opinions, and he doesn't take my opinions because that's not what he is. I've talked about him before. He has some money. His family has money. They own apartment buildings in New York, so the guy's pretty wealthy. He'll spend 5 figures a month just on gambling, just to have fun. It's fun to him, and like. He was sitting he went to a doctor's office and he read something in a magazine while he was waiting about Coastal Carolina. And he's like, wow, they have the most returning starters of any team for the keyest positions. Something to that effect. And he told me, he goes, I'm betting them this week. I said, oh, okay, who are they playing? He goes, I don't know. I said, well, what's the spread? He goes, I don't know. I said, wait a minute. We're in week 4. It's not like it's week 1 and the season no one knows. That's already baked in the line. It's already in the line, that particular thing. And he says, no, they're good though. Trust me. I said, did you ever see? Do you know what their record is? He said, no.
Trust me.
But so now the next day he sends me a copy of his ticket for $2,000, and he calls me and says, Bill, you're not going to believe it. That's all they want to take on this game's $2,000. They know. And I said to him, no, they don't know. That's the max that casino takes on sides. That's what they take from everybody.
They know.
He's like, no, trust me, they know. Needless to say, you know where I'm going with the story. They get blown away. Oh, even better yet, the story of how he was beat was even better. They're up 14-3, winning outright, taking 16. So literally he's winning 30-3 by 27 points.
Yes.
There's a 4.5-hour delay in the game. 4.5 hours. Oh. They take them off the field. The uniforms are off. They're getting on. They're calling the game. They're going to go on the bus, which would have been a terrible beat. And you lose the game because of didn't finish the game. I don't know what was wrong. Lightning, lights. I don't know. Maybe someone could tell us on Twitter. And so now they call them back in the game. Get off the bus. Come on, put the uniforms back on. And they get blown out by 55 in the second. It was 55-30 or something. The game was. He lost the game.
There isn't a better listening. There isn't one guy who bets sports listening who has not met a delay that they liked.
That's an unbelievable thing, though.
Baseball, when it happens, you're like, oh, this isn't going to work well for me.
Wow.
It's always delays are the worst. But
so crazy.
That's a phenomenal turn of events in that way.
Oh, but it's just so I wrote about him in the article. Though. I was like, God, he'll never learn. It doesn't matter. And the same thing. He loves the Yanks. He's like, listen. Sabathia, you got to bet him every game of the year, and he bets him every. By the way, he's not a little better. He'll bet $500 or more, $1,000 on games. I told you, he owns them. I always terrorize him. He still hasn't paid for a meal, by the way, but that's okay. I took him out to lunch a couple times, and he bluffed at a tip back in August of last summer.
He bluffed.
Yeah, it was a bluff. Anyway, so. So it's just amazing. Sabathia every time. And he says, listen, I'm telling you right now. He said Sabathia, even now he might not start or something, whatever he was telling me last. He just told me this last night. He's like, listen, though, I'm telling you, Yankees playoff time. Sabathia maybe is coming into his last years here. He is you gotta bet. And I said, well, when you walk in a casino though, you do pull up. There's so many free odds services, free line services, and I said, we live on the strip here, so you have a plethora of casinos here. And he says, no, I just go in and I bet it where I'm at. I said, no, why? You just look on you're betting that kind of money where if you're going to be minus $1.90 compared to a minus $1.80, you're saving yourself a couple $100. And he said, nah, it don't matter. They're going to win. You don't pay juice on losers. On winners, sorry. You don't pay juice on winners.
That's right. There's
God,
no
but you don't win. But you don't win. I'm telling.
Trust me, they
poor guy.
know.
For every one guy like this, how many guys are out there that are just wandering aimlessly through casinos, just gambling on anything?
Of course,
that's what they're made up of, or else we wouldn't have a town, I guess.
Of course, and we talked about it with New Jersey, how they can, there's a whole new generation of gamblers now. They can do whatever they want. They're like, we'll train them to do the worst things possible.
Yeah, no, it's true. They don't. This is new to so many people. And they don't even know. We reach we're VSiN here. We reach a certain area. We reach a network of people. But there's so much more out there that's untapped that we can try to help.
Let's go back to the first point you made, because I think the first point is an interesting one, which is before the great story about it. Trust me, they know.
Right.
$2,000. That's all they took.
Yeah.
The comment about mainstream media, maybe you weren't referring to mainstream media, maybe you were referring to Twitterverse. I'm not sure what you're referring to. That all of a sudden everybody seems to have an opinion on point spreads, right?
Yes.
Because with legalization, this has opened up a whole new door to everybody talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
I think everybody who's listening who's a gambler can relate exactly to what you're talking about. What I want to get at is, why do you think this is truly that this bothers us so much? My theory is that because our entire lives have been this, right? And we know how tough it is, right? We know what the discipline that it takes, that we are somehow offended deeply that we were sort of cast aside for all these years, right? We were treated as rogue for all these years. And now, when it's finally our stage, now you think you can swoop in here and act like you know what you're talking about.
Very good.
I think that's
especially,
it, right?
I'm going to read a paragraph of the article. You just hit on it. Yeah. One of the largest media outlets has bloggers and podcasts with guys I wouldn't trust giving out directions, much less opinions on games. Sadly, because of their reach, they're going to reach out to and follow, and a lot of people are going to follow them. Last week, one of these, I'm going to call them pundits, put out a can't-miss bet on Akron -7 versus UMass. He claimed he had inside information that certain players have been suspended, and some of the ones that had remained had said, we're quitting on this coach. I'm sure thousands took his advice, and source be damned, UMass won the game outright. Very large site. I'm not here to down anyone or any sites, but a very large name in the industry putting this out to a lot of people. And you're putting it out. You have to realize people are going to follow your advice. People are betting on what you say, especially if you're on TV every day, especially if you're in the media every day. So, listen, I'm not saying you have to go. You have to go somewhere for this. You have to. If you don't trust your own opinion, you have to find opinions. I understand. But at least have it from someone like us. I hate to give us a shameless plug, but at least you have Vegas Stats and Information Network. I mean that's what we're here for. Not these guys that were ex-athletes and coaches. And it's funny. You think because they played. I know guys that actually played a year ago, and they still have contacts in the team and in the program. They're giving out their picks on TV. They still can't win.
Let me play devil's advocate, right? Because not everything in life is black and white, right? So maybe we're right, right? Let's just establish, okay, everything we just said that we probably are in the right there. But how much of it is just, all right, even if we are right, hey, get over it. That's just how the world is. And whether this subject was sports betting or something else, where someone had, been immersed in for all these years, and let's say it had popped up as now somewhat more acceptable than it had always been, and then there's a whole now new cottage industry of everybody just giving opinions. Like, how much of it is we should just kind of get over it? That's just kind of how the world works.
Very good. It's a great analogy. Great.
I mean, it's kind of true, right?
Sure.
Like, so on the one hand, you can get hung up about it, but that's just how the world turns.
Yeah.
And, you just hope that people, You hope people bet responsibly.
And listen, I'm not saying that that I'm not trying to say to anyone that I'm better than anybody. I do bet sports for a living, and I do give out plays and stuff. But I'm not saying I'm better than. I'm not promoting myself at all. I'm just promoting. Just listen to the guys that are in the sports betting media that bet their own money. Yeah. Don't listen to these talking heads that don't even bet, and they're telling a million people to bet.
Well, there's a larger point there. I would hope that people who bet sports can very quickly sniff out who bets and who doesn't. You and I know that, right? Like, if you're smart enough, you can really tell who's actually betting and who's not. I don't know that the average person who's not a sports bettor and who's just now coming to it with legalization is able to sniff that out. But people who have been betting, hopefully, if they have even half a brain, can figure that part out.
My main goal, and I do a couple podcasts a week, I do a couple other radio shows a week, is to just inform bettors what sports betting is. And in other words, if you're a newbie, I just want to make sure you know what the key numbers are in sports. Make sure you're shopping lines. Yeah. Make sure you're not paying the ridiculous juice. I called out that same casino there, that Parks Casino, for charging $1.14 each way on NFL. You have to demand more. And I know if it's the only game in town, I understand people want to just go bet, but I just try to educate people, especially that are new to the business, of what to expect and what you should get. And here in Vegas, we're used to laying 110, and I hope even less, 105 on certain situations. What I mean by is lay 110 to 100 on a game, or 105 to 100, and we're going to get some good deals here down the line. This G2E convention, they're all coming. All those big companies that are from out of state, those Jersey ones, the ones from England, they're all going to be here. They're all going to have representation here. They're going to have booths set up, and hopefully they're going to crack this market sooner or later, so us bettors can get better deals. That's what we need. We need a points bet here that has 105 on sides and NFL and NBA, and we need that competition so others are forced to do the same or compete in some ways.
Absolutely. Bill Krackomberger right here on a numbers game at VEASAN. We'll come back. We'll talk a little baseball. Jason Weingarten stopping by. Like the rest of us here on a numbers game, he has been killing it here early in the postseason. 2 games in, set himself up for AL Rookie of the Year. Props to cash at 200 to 1. Let's get Jason's thoughts on today's games and the playoffs beyond next on a numbers game at VEASAN.
Keep it right here for more of A Numbers Game with Gill Alexander.
If you didn't catch VEASAN last week, here's some of what you missed.
Okay, so the story on MLB.com, we briefly touched on this yesterday. This is Richard Justice, who's covered the sport for a long time, and they get together 37 MLB.com reporters and editors, and they rank this in order for the awards. Mike Trout got 36 first-place votes out of the 37 for the AL MVP. He opened up at 3-1 at the Westgate this year. He was immediately bet down to even money. Bregman right now is second, 18-1. Marcus Semien for the A's, now third, according to the votes. Who this guy is, don't look now, having a ridiculously good season. He was never on the board this year here in Las Vegas. NL MVP, they give it to Bellinger as of right now. He was 25-1 at Westgate. I got them at 50-1. At other spots, I think William Hill. They have Yelich second, Rendon third, Marte fourth from Arizona, and the Acuna kid, 21 years old. He could go 40-40. Number 5 overall. He opened up 25-1. Only 2 guys in the hunt essentially for the AL Cy Young. Verlander was 5-1. Garrett Cole was 18-1 to win it. Think about that. 15-0 with a sub-2 ERA. Almost 20 Ks per 9 since May 27th. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, who bets on some of these guys? I mean, who would, unless it's like a family member, who would bet Alvarez to win Rookie of the Year? Who's betting Alonso to lead the league in home runs?
Alvarez, so I got the story yesterday. When they posted him up, it was after the season already started because the thought was he was never going to come up. They have another kid named Kyle Tucker who was supposed to come up earlier than Alvarez, and Alvarez was killing it in the minors. So Randy Blum over at over at the Westgate, he told me last night, I opened up by 200-1. And they take a beating if he wins, and it's going to be unanimous that he's going to win it. He told me he was off yesterday, but he said, I think we have at least $100 bet on him at 200 to 1. At least one of those out there.
Oh, wow.
And so he wasn't even I dropped him in my fantasy league. I just kept reading about the kid, and it's like, he's killing it, but he's not going to come up. 3 more home runs today for Alvarez. We're not going to bring him up, though. I'm like, okay, enough of this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
And he wasn't supposed to. That's why he popped him at 200 to 1. And somebody saw it, and they said, okay. And they lose to Alonso, NL Rookie of the Year, at 5 to 1. Jacob deGrom was plus 350 to go back-to-back to begin the year. Paul, he was 40 to 1 in July. And according to Richard Justice, MLB.com, he would win it right now. They ranked Scherzer second, Ryu third, Flaherty fourth, which I think is if Flaherty's not like finishing top 2 at this point, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
That would be
all fair.
Awful.
And what a job by Dave Martinez, too. I mean, we abused him early in the season, but what a job. The Nats are in the playoffs. They're 88-69. How about they started 19-31? Wow. 19-31.
And they're going to go over their win total.
Welcome back to A Numbers Game with Gill Alexander.
We should totally have the off-air parts of this show as its own separate podcast.
Without a doubt.
That would be...
We can't even talk about some of them on air.
Yeah, no.
But however, though, I shouldn't say that. We actually could. It would make a show within a show. You're right.
Yeah, that one. That last one was not relatable, though, but has to do it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
good stuff.
By the way, are we on air? Oh, yeah, we are. Let's talk a little baseball here real quick. We did it at the outset of the show. Talked about last night's Tampa Bay Rays 5-1 win over the Athletics on the heels of the Nationals' dramatic win in the National League wild card game against the Brewers. So Tampa Bay is on their way to playing the Astros. The Nationals on their way to playing the Dodgers. In fact, today, both National League Division Series start. St. Louis at Atlanta. Michaelis against Keuchel. The Braves minus 137, minus 140-ish, somewhere in that pocket. Not really sure what the consensus is. It's all over the place there. That's the first game today, 5:02 Eastern, 2:02 Pacific. And then the nightcap. Good start to this series. Patrick Corbin, Walker Buehler. The Nats and the Dodgers. Dodgers minus 165 favorites. Game 1 of the best-of-5 division series at Chavez Ravine. For insights on these games and perhaps beyond, ladies and gentlemen, twice in 1 week, the baseball playoffs calls for it, though. It's Jason Weingarten. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Gill. Good morning, Crackman.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Good, buddy.
Jason, first of all, nice job yesterday and the day before. You're off to a fine start, as we tend to be here on A Numbers Game with the baseball stuff so far. Let me ask you this. You hit another first inning yes yesterday? Was that 2 first inning yeses in a row for you?
Yesterday I didn't want to play it, but it got so high I just had to, and then I got lucky.
And it worked out for you. Yandy Diaz, first batter of the game, going yard. He did in his second at-bat as well. As far as today is concerned, with these 2 games, you playing anything pre-flop? Are you doing a derivatives market? What catches your eye here?
I bet one side pre-flop so far, and that is the Cardinals at plus 129.
I like it. I like it a lot. I didn't bet either game pre-flop, but I did bet, and I know you have strong feelings about the Dodgers being the best team in the NL Central, in the National League playoffs. But I did bet the Nationals on the series at plus 196. How do you feel about that?
You're getting good value. I mean, that was definitely probably the best price. I hope you're wrong.
Yeah, well,
the Nationals have been a pretty good team since their awful start, and I do think this is the worst matchup for them with their starting pitchers for the Dodgers.
You think it's whose bad matchup? The Dodgers' bad matchup or the Nats?
It's a bad matchup for the Dodgers. It's a worse matchup for them than the Brewers would have been. But I don't think it's gonna 6-7 games. I think the Dodgers got this.
Jason said he thinks the Dodgers got this, but that was we had a little technical problem right there. So you are on the Cardinals here for the game at plus 129. You said you had Michaelis in the Cardinals, plus 129?
Plus 129.
And then what besides that today? Anything else?
I'm looking for the first inning price on the late game, the Dodgers game. There's one thing I want to caution about betting the first inning at the Dodgers game right now is that the start is like right over 5 o'clock Pacific,
Mm-hmm.
and that was at Dodger Stadium at that time. So
We're losing you, Jason. Let's see if we can change your location here. Maybe we'll call Jason back. Let's call Jason back.
Go to the
real quick.
window.
Yeah, let's call Jason back. Go to the window. Get a wet washcloth. Do something. We'll get back to Jason. What Jason was saying was what applied in Oakland last night is even worse at Chavez Ravine tonight in Los Angeles. The shadows at the start time of these playoff games is very strange. It's 5 p.m. Pacific.
Oh, wow, okay.
So the shadows between the mound and the plate are funkier than they normally are. So he's saying one cautionary tale about that.
Now, will you watch? Because I don't even know this, and I apologize for not knowing this. Are the Nationals your team? Or do you still have a team?
No. I grew up an Orioles fan.
Oh, okay. All right. So Orioles. Okay. So Baltimore.
I was the generation of Washingtonians.
Yeah.
That was too young for the Senators, but too old for the Nationals.
My grandfather absolutely hated Earl Weaver.
Oh, he's the greatest.
And see, if you're an Oriole fan, I didn't know if you were even old enough. I said, wait a minute, I'm saying the name here.
Yeah, no, I mean, he was still manager when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he retired when I was, I don't know how many years.
But my grandfather was we lived, a giant Yankee fan living where we lived, and he was a giant Yankee fan, and that they were the enemy because Earl Weaver would come out, he was kicked dirt on the, I mean, it was like,
but could you imagine,
him and Billy Martin went at it.
Could you imagine Earl Weaver and Billy Martin today, though, now with replay? They wouldn't be able to argue anything, right?
Man.
They would come out, screaming, and then they'd walk right into the umpire's face, and they'd be like, hold on, I got to see if I'm mad.
Wow.
Let me see the replay first. Right. Like,
That's right.
It would be a totally different game.
No, but the old Orioles, they were a fighting squad, though. They
Orioles had great teams. They won World Series in the early 70s, which was earlier than I can remember. They got to a World Series in 79, had a 3-1 lead, and then the We Are Family Pittsburgh Pirates beat them.
Wow.
And then the Orioles won it in 1983.
Oh, wow.
But not since then have they sniffed a World Series. We have Jason back? No, we can't get Jason back.
Party's over.
Party's over. Yeah, I guess.
All right, Jace, we'll talk.
We'll see if we can get Jason back. But otherwise, we can't get Jason back. So just a review. He's on the Cardinals today. He's on Miles Michaelis and the Cardinals. He got it at plus 129. You can still get it about plus 126.
No, you can look at stations 145. I'm sure the comeback on that is going to be 130. Yeah, you can get plus 130. You can get a better price than him.
Okay,
so that's good.
So Cardinals, he's taking them. And as I said yesterday, and also today, I have not only a bet on the Nationals in the series here against the Dodgers, but I took a flyer, very low limits because they limited on faraway place on this, but the exact on a World Series matchup, the Cardinals and the Astros, I got at 13-1. I just have a feeling about the Cardinals. We do analytics on baseball every single day here. It led us right to victory yesterday with the Tampa Bay Rays. The analytics on the Cardinals outside of Jack Flaherty don't really translate to, they're going to do this. But yet there's just something about that group collectively that I just wonder. I just have a feeling about them, nothing more. And so I can endorse today's pick. I think you either take the Cardinals or nothing in that game. Braves hoping that Dallas Keuchel's home road splits manifest with a good home record and a good home numbers, component stats. But I totally believe it's Cardinals or nothing in that game. And for the Nationals and Dodgers, if it wasn't Bueller, I'd be all over the Nationals. But that's a stay away. I'll wait to play that in game. How much baseball playoff betting do you do?
I actually bet the last 2 games. I can't believe it. But I mean, 2 nights in a row. And I actually watched a little bit. I went to Aerosmith the other night, but before Aerosmith, I watched the first. It was 3-0 Milwaukee when I went to Aerosmith, and I had Milwaukee on the run line. So it's 3-0. I find out that I almost lost the game. They lost 4-3, but I mean, I shouldn't say I almost lost it because you're getting a run and a half. But
that was Aerosmith.
Aerosmith, great.
Don't bury the headline.
No,
good.
They were great.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, Aerosmith was great, and I didn't expect it because someone told me, their voices are shot. The voice, Steven Tyler's voice is shot, and he was unbelievable.
He's ridiculous how good his
I'm
voice
not a
still is.
giant Aerosmith fan. I'm more of a Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, the Stones, the Who, the Doors. But Aerosmith is part of that classic rock history, and I didn't even know he was from he was from Manhattan and moved to the Bronx and at a young age Yonkers, and that's where he's Italian. His last name is Tallarico. I didn't even know that. So it was pretty cool him talking about that a little bit, and concert was great. Seats were great.
Park MGM.
A shout out to my man Kevin Mucco, I think it's MUCC. I met him. The guy I met on Twitter, and he's a good guy, and he set some stuff up for me, and really good stuff. I didn't think they were going to be that good. They were excellent. And they have a residency there, so I would recommend anyone going to see that.
All right. So you're watching baseball. Do you have any picks for today?
So I was saying I watched 2 games in a row. I love playoff baseball when it counts.
The greatest.
It's the rare thing I watch. I don't watch games that much. Very, very, only if my friends are in town or something. And like this week, I'll be watching games. I'll be going to Atlantic City, of course. So I have friends there. Then what are they going to do? Just, we're going to watch games. It's a great spot there. Yeah. Tropicana has a Chicky and Pete's, which is like the staple, old-fashioned, like Philadelphia, Atlantic City now. Just like all the wings and the thing, and really good food and stuff. You're watching, the games are all there, and the sports book's behind you now. Just think of that. It's unbelievable that the sports book's right behind you there. See, there's a shameless plug for William Hill Sportsbook.
Chicky and Pete's.
Chicky.
Shameless plug for William Hill. Well done.
Well, they're right there. They're right in back of there.
Well done.
Yeah. So it's a great spot to watch a game. It really is. By the way, the sports books are great there. They're all brand new, so you understand the screens, the seats, and everything. They're brand new. It's really cool. I went to Bally's, has plenty of room. Even the Borgata I went to last week, 2 weeks ago. There's not really a lot of seats unless you're sitting down for a meal. I don't like that part, so I always say the pros and cons. You really can't buy me, so I'll just tell you right now. I don't like that you have to sit and buy drinks and buy. Come on. You got to get the players drink tickets, That's all the casinos. The Bally's does give you drink tickets, though. But the companies that are that are just renting space do not give you drink tickets. And I just think that's ridiculous. You can't sit there with a coffee or a water or even an alcoholic drink, a beer, that you have to buy your drinks and you're betting thousands. Doesn't matter what you're betting at the windows. That bothers me. It does. It's just corporate sports books. But anyway, wow, we went all over this place here. Oh, so you asked about a game. Believe it or not, hockey, because it started yesterday, and I actually started betting hockey last year because I just didn't. Years ago, there was a syndicate group back in Philly, back in the the late '80s and throughout the '90s that was unbelievable. He was one of the best hockey handicappers ever, and he was great. And besides that, I never really bet any hockey. And we do bet hockey. We found a little niche here for betting some games. So I'm going to give the first game out here to you guys. Do I give it out now?
We'll give it out after the break.
Perfect.
Bill Krackomberger on hockey. Didn't expect that to come down the pipe.
You're right.
We'll do that next on a numbers game right here at VSiN.
Keep it right here for more of A Numbers Game with Gill Alexander.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
Certainly it didn't happen in the 80s and the 90s when you had dominant teams like the Niners and the Cowboys and the Redskins and the Giants who were dominating football. You never saw other teams get back in games.
I never saw them stop playing in the third quarter. Right. Lawrence Taylor didn't start just lollygagging in the third quarter.
It is different in that sense. That is a very good point. And that is why, again, we get back to the general gambling theme of it. That's why teasers work so well in the NFL, right? Because everything just sort of cozies up to the number, even when it shouldn't.
And I have to tell folks, if you're listening on Sirius 204 or Fubo, Sling, or if you're watching on vsin.com, listen, I'm around a lot of these Detroit people because of the Derek Stevens Association. Do yourself a favor. You've got to come to terms with this. It's over, okay? Schembechler's gone. Duffy Doherty is gone. Jim Leland is gone. It's over. It's over. Chuck Daly is gone. All right. Scotty Bowman's gone. Wayne Fonts is gone. Give it up.
What do you do with Barry Sanders is gone?
Yes.
What do you do with Rutgers plus 27?
Bobby Lane is gone. Doak Walker is gone. And on and on.
Bill Frieder is
Al
gone.
Kaline
Bill
is gone.
Frieder is gone.
All right.
It's over.
Tired of all those talking heads making predictions? Well, then it's time to get behind your convictions. Don't watch a game without downloading the BetMGM Sports New Jersey app or visiting BetMGM.com. New customers can make their first bet completely risk-free, up to $500. That's a nice way to start the season. When you download the app, be sure to use my bonus code VSIN500 at the sign up to get your $500 risk-free bet. That's bonus code VSIN500 to place your first BetMGM wager risk-free. You can sign up and deposit anywhere, but you must be in the state of New Jersey to place a sports bet. Enough talk. Believe in your game. Believe in your bet. BetMGM Sports. Download the BetMGM Sports New Jersey app now.
Must be 21 or older. In New Jersey only. Restrictions apply. Visit BetMGM.com for the full list of terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome back to A Numbers Game with Gill Alexander.
Bill, you have any thoughts on, we got a tweet here from somebody. Dr. Martin Van Nostrand. Looking forward to the show today. I'd love to hear Crack's thoughts on Triple G this weekend.
Oh, fighting this weekend. It's in New York. I'm going to be there, too. I really should go to the fight on Saturday, but I probably won't. By the way, that fight hasn't had any action.
None.
It's minus 420 at the sportsbook.
Just sitting there.
It's just sitting there, yeah. He's fighting a guy with a longer name than me, Darian Vanyanchenko. Wow. So, no, I actually didn't talk to Teddy about this. Teddy's in training right now. He's training his fighter. And they're going to be fighting the 18th. I'm going to go back to Philly to watch that fight. But no, this fight, it seems pretty funny. He's 420, 440, 450, and it's staying there. It has got no action at all. So I really have no opinion. And I'm interested to see if this guy does something against him, though.
Okay.
So, sorry about the no opinion.
Hold your hockey pick. Jason Weingarten back with us. Jason, we got a connection with Jason now. Sorry about that, Jason. So St. Louis Cardinals, you're waiting for a yes price on the first inning of the Dodgers game. Anything else today?
I'm interested in the Rays tomorrow. The opener for Rays versus Astros game 1 is plus 189 for Tyler Glasnow. That's a pretty high price for a guy who was the Cy Young favorite a month into the season.
Sure is. Do you subscribe to the same thought about the Rays as you do with the Nationals, that this isn't the most favorable thing that happened to the Dodgers? Would you say the same for the Astros? Rays won the season series 4-3, and I figure if you have Glasnow and Snell and Morton set up, like I said earlier on the show, this smells to me like an escape job 5-game series for the Astros.
Yeah, this is when you have a pitching staff like that, it can present a challenge even to a really, really good team. I'm not going to predict the upset here, but I think the Astros might get a little bit more of a fight out of this than they would have if the Indians or the A's advanced out of the wild card.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Anything else then on these series? Any thoughts on Twins Yankees?
Not much there. I think the Yankees take it. I'm sort of in the camp that we're getting a Yankees Astros ALCS, and that's probably going to be the best series. If we get that, that'll be the best series of the entire playoffs. Those are the two best teams, and only one of them is going to go to the World Series.
All right, Jason, quadruple header tomorrow. Maybe we'll try to get you on again tomorrow once we get that Tampa Bay Rays line, and see if you have thoughts on anything tomorrow.
Sounds good to me. I love talking about four playoff games. Sounds like good morning.
The greatest. Jason Weingarten at Spreadopedia. Sorry about the technical difficulties, everybody, on that.
No problem. See you tomorrow.
Take care. Jason, who writes for Point Spread Weekly, not only about baseball, but also NFL futures as well for VSiN. Your hockey picks, sir.
First, I want to say we have such great followers. We have such great listeners.
They're phenomenal.
God.
The feedback
I am
wonderful.
so grateful to people that are I don't want to call them fans because we're a radio show here. They're just great people, man. We have such great followers. Some guys, Jerry Shoebox, Miami Two Tone, Tim Johnson, Ryan, Scott Gordon, Mando here, JD Underwood, Christopher, Make It Rain. These guys, they put up some great questions and great things, and I'm going to read you one of them from Ryan. I hope I don't pronounce your name wrong here. Metivier. 100% everything you guys are saying. Picks mean nothing if you aren't betting your own advice for any amount. Talking heads are good for general storylines, but not for sports betting. I just loved it.
Yep.
Okay, go on to a hockey pick. Let me just tell you, I really don't bet hockey normally. This is something new. And another thing, any originator or anyone that, if you're confident in your game, you shouldn't really worry about the line because this line has went against me. Someone's betting the other way. I don't care. I'm going to probably bet more on it now. Game line number 20, Dallas Mavericks, okay. Dallas Stars.
Yes.
I won't be giving out too many NBA sides. Dallas Stars tonight. They're minus 110, 105 here in Vegas. I see the Westgate, Coast Properties, South Point right here, even, no juice at the South Point. So, and the money came in, I bet it last night for a penny, and I'm going to bet a little bit more on it probably today at a better price. So someone bet the other way, that's fine with me. I have it. You should believe in your opinion. And a lot of the guys, like I'll give you Alan Boston, he doesn't care. He hopes someone bets against him. He's praying someone bet the other way. I'm betting my side no matter what. I hope the line gets better. I know more than you.
I always say this about markets that aren't as liquid as the NFL, right?
Right.
I could not care less what the market is doing because honestly, like even take baseball. In the middle of July, when the Padres are playing whomever, right? Let's say the Padres are playing the Brewers, just picking a random game, and the line moves one way. I don't know how many. First of all, one person could be moving that. Like the market's not liquid enough, right? Like it could be three different people.
It's so easy to manipulate lines, especially college basketball. You're betting $1,000. I could bet $1,500 and move every single sports book in the world. Everyone in the world.
So Dallas right now hosting the Boston Bruins tonight. The Stars consensus minus 110, but you'll find prices that are lower than that on the Stars today. That's a 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific face-off. Dallas. That is Bill Krackomberger's hockey pick of the day.
Hey, listen, don't go crazy on it. It's not a tap-out game, but I mean, it's just
stay tuned for God's sakes. Billy, thank you. Appreciate it as always.
All right, I'm on my way to AC.
Do it. Safe travels.
Thanks, guys.
At Bill Crackman with a K, by the way. I'm going to do the Megapod. Guest today, Joe Fortenbaugh from Daily Wager. So Todd Wishnet, Mike Ballman, and I doing that next.
Ooh,
enjoy.
love that guy.
Good
Great.
luck today with your baseball picks.
Keep it right here for more of A Numbers Game with Gill Alexander.